Welcome, folks. My name is Rob, and this is the third edition of my Meaningful Things podcast. Here again, where I'll be engaging, informative, and intriguing. I encourage you to contact me on my website, iamrobmichael.com. Or, as I open my phone lines, you can give me a call with your questions, comments, or concerns. On this edition, we'll break down how the shooting incident at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, who's in charge and why did it take law enforcement over an hour to react to the situation. We may never know why a shooter gunned down 18 children and 2 teachers in a massacre at Robb Elementary there in Uvalde, Texas. But details are starting to emerge about the shooter's behavior in the weeks leading up to the shooting, as well as unsettling questions about the police officer's delayed response. Now, one of the most troubling questions is how the shooter managed to remain inside the school for more than an hour, folks. The shooter was inside the school for more than an hour before law enforcement shot him. So who was this person that killed 19 students and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary? The gunman's name was Salvador Ramos, 18 years of age. Why did Salvador Ramos kill him 19 children? Some babies and 2 teachers. It's said that there are accounts that he was upset because he was not scheduled to graduate with this high school class. But Salvador Ramos has also been described by friends as violent, by the few friends he had. Violent, and that he often shot at people with his BB gun whenever he got angry at them, with his friends saying that these tantrums are not normal and that he was a loner and bullied throughout his life. Now, it's also curious to know, before I go any further, who was the supervisor when all of this occurred. From all accounts, the commander on the scene was the school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, believed at the time, before any actions could be taken, that more protective armor was needed to successfully breach the door. That's what he said early on. But exactly what took law enforcement so long, over an hour, to react? Some accounts say that they were afraid they'd get shot by the gunman. Now, it's unclear who made the call to stand down, but it is also believed that Chief Pete Arredondo was the one that made the call to stand down, reasoning being not enough body armor for the officers that were there. Now, we're going to take a look at this timeline, but before we take a look at the timeline, I want you to understand that the gunman got inside the building, and as it states here, the gunman then entered the classroom and opens fire on children and teachers while continuing to fire back at the police. So he did get inside. So as I stated, he entered the classroom and opened fire on children and teachers while continuing to fire back at the police. While they waited for backup, police helped evacuate children elsewhere from in the school. And this account from the Texas director for the State Department of Public Safety, Victor Escalon. That's the individual that made that statement. But now, as we look at the timeline, it shows that Ramos at 11:28 crashes the vehicle near the school in a ditch, gets out firing at people. This occurred after shooting his grandmother in the head. So prior to him wrecking her SUV, her truck, near the school, he shot his grandmother in the head, then went to the school. 11:30 is when the first 911 call is made to the youth police reporting a crash in a man with a gun outside the school. Once again at 11:30, U.S. Marshal Service said it received a call from the Uvalde police requesting assistance. At that same time, the U.S. Border Patrol tactical team was also notified. 11:31, patrol car drives by. The shooter, who was hiding, hunkered down behind another vehicle. 11:32, suspect fires at the school. 11:33, suspect enters the school and begins shooting, expending more than 100 rounds. More than 100 rounds, folks. Now, 11:35, at this time, 7 officers are on the scene. 3 enter the school, later followed by an additional team of 3 more officers and a sheriff. 2 of the initial officers received grazing wounds from the suspect. So he was firing, folks, and some officers did get hit. I can understand why Chief Lorenando had his guys to fall back or stand down for a while. So at 11:37, 60 rounds were fired from 11:37 to 11:44. At 11:43, Robb Elementary announces on Facebook that the school is on lockdown status due to gunshots in the area. This is all the timeline, folks, in which things were occurring, in which things happened. 11:51, you had more officers to arrive. 12:03, as many as 19 officers are now in the hallway. Did they have this protective armor at 12:03, the more protective armor that they said they needed? Could they have gone in at 12:03? Because when we look at the time, from the time he crashed, 11:28, right on to 12:03, with as many as 19 officers in the classroom. He's just one individual. Yes, he's got a rifle that can shoot multiple rounds. Strategically, seemed like they could have set up some type of perimeter between either going through the doorway or the windows where they possibly could have taken this guy out. I'm just going through these scenarios in my head. 12:03, as many as 19 officers in the hallway. 12:03 again, a girl in room 112, the school makes a 911 call. 12:10, a 911 call is received from the same girl in room 112. So even here, folks, you see where these children, though they're in the predicament they're in, they're still able to make calls to let the outside world know somewhat of what's taking place, what's going on. Children that were still communicating with the outside world at this time. As I stated, 12:10, a 911 call is received from the same girl in room 112 reporting multiple deaths. 12:13, the girl makes another 911 call. 12:15, the Border Patrol tactical team arrives on the scene. 12:16, the same girl makes another 911 call reporting there were 8 to 9 students alive. There were 8 to 9 students alive. So, in looking at that, you have a young lady, you have a child, 12:03, calling from room 112. 12:10, calling from room 112. 12:13, calling from room 112. 12:16, calling from room 112. That's 4 times. And is even able to give a situation report of what's going on. These are children doing that. At 12:17, Robb Elementary announces on Facebook there's an active shooter at Robb Elementary with law enforcement on site. 12:19, a different 911 call is received from a caller in room 111, but the caller hung up abruptly after another student told them to do so. Still at 12:19, the calls are coming in, but with this one, this caller hanging up so abruptly, it can be said that either the shooter was coming around, might have been coming around, or might have been aware that someone was making a call or trying to find out whether someone was making a call. But if they hung up abruptly, it only stands to reason that they did it for a reason, something happened. 12:21, suspect fires again. 12:19, they hung up abruptly. 12:21, another 911 call is received. 3 shots are heard. So there's still calls being made and there's still shots being heard. So there's still individuals that are alive that are making these calls and still letting the outside world know what's going on. 12:21 again, the officers move down the hallway. So now they're on the move, folks. 12:21. 12:21. Suspects. Yes, folks. 12:21, officers move down the hallway. 12:36, 911 call lasts for 21 seconds with students saying he shot the door. He shot the door. 12:43 to 12:47, 911 caller says, please send police now. That 911 caller says, please send police now. 9:46, 911 caller can hear police next door. 9:50, shots are being heard over the 911 call. So now the shooter is in there at 12:50, shooting up the children, 2 teachers, shooting up the place. not knowing that this is being heard by 911 at 12:50. So at 12:50, law enforcement breaches the door and kills the suspect after getting keys from the janitor. So they did breach the door at 12:50 and killed this guy only after getting the keys from the janitor. 12:51 on 911 call that sounds like officers are moving the children out of the room. Wow. Now, I want to look at some of what was said by some of the higher ranking officers that did a review on what happened here. And as I stated, Victor Escalon, the South Texas Regional Director for the State Department of Public Safety, said the 18-year-old gunman, again, walked unimpeded into Robb Elementary Tuesday morning, 12 minutes after crashing his grandmother's pickup truck and firing shots at people nearby outside the school. That's what Victor Escalon said. The Texas Department of Public Safety Director, Colonel Steve McCraw, said the commander on scene, the school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, made a wrong decision not to send officers in. The Texas Department of Public Safety Director, Colonel Steve McCraw, said the commander on scene, school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, made the wrong decision not to send officers in sooner. McCraw gave a detailed timeline during the Senate hearing on June 21, calling law enforcement's response an abject failure. Now, his timeline might vary somewhat from the timeline I gave you folks, but in general, they're pretty close, pretty accurate. Some accounts by some news outlets, what have you, may be a minute or two off, but for the most part, the timelines are close to being accurate. The parents of this tragedy are still calling for accountability over the delayed response. In the beginning, you had conflicting accounts, and transparency seemed to be much of the concern that people had over the different narratives that were coming out. And even today, it's still evolving, folks. But my question is this: why did the police chief have them wait so long? Yes, the gunman was armed. He was armed with the MCR-16, which can expend plenty of rounds. But now, with 19 officers already on site, and to strategically put together a tactical team to go in there, it seems like that would have been easy, but it appears that the district school police was not ready for something such as an active shooter. It appears that they might have not had the right training, right practice to deal with the active shooter. When this gentleman got inside the school unimpeded through a door that was unlocked, that could be a sign that secure doors is something that is needed at these schools because of gunmen like Salvador Ramos. Accountability on that end, making sure that the school is secure, but then on the end, whereas law enforcement has to come in and now implant themselves in the situation, doing their jobs, they should not be scared because they don't get paid for going in and getting themselves shot up, but they get paid for taking chances to help others out. So that being said, yes, safety should be the first and main thing, but retrieving the 19 children or some of those 19 children should have been put first also. So again, I'm in agreement with the colonel by saying that waiting was definitely the wrong thing to do, because you never know how many lives you could have saved by acting. The same lives might have been lost, but you never know how many lives might have been saved by acting sooner. That's just my take. But once again, folks, what I'd like you to do is to like me on YouTube, hit me on my website, I am Rob Michael, with your questions, comments, or concerns. And stay tuned for my next episode where I'll be talking about policing, accountability, and why is it that police agencies or governmental agencies can keep up with the number of police that are killed annually by suspects, but yet they don't have an accurate number of civilians or individuals that are killed annually by the police. They can't keep an accurate number of that. We'll dive into that and see where that takes us. Once again, folks, thank you for your time. I ask again that you come back, see me again. Let's keep this thing going. And I love you all out there. Thank you. God bless. Take care. And I'll talk to you later.